Hello everyone, I am the Reverend Godfather. I am the main host and frontman for the Long Coat Mafia podcast. I am doing a review of the Awesome Con. This is going to be a raw video because I'm having issues with my editing software. I'm going to say a few disclaimers first. First off, there might be a little bit of vulgarity in this, blue language. That's number one. Number two, as I said, due to problems with my editing software, this is going straight up. It's going to be a long review. It's going to be broken down to two parts. One is going to be the convention center and event staff. I am leaving out the volunteer staff. I'll explain later. And the second part is going to be the actual event. So there's going to be two different review numbers. The other disclaimer is the fact that let's see. The other disclaimer is that it's raw. It's like this whole aspect is raw. There's going to be no editing. There's going to be no jump cuts. People not going to like it. The other disclaimer. Oh yeah. The other disclaimer is that I'm going to sound bitter. I'm going to sound critical. I'm going to sound mean when it comes to the event staff and the convention center staff. It's not because the event staff or the event, aka AwesomeCon, denied me and the podcast a press pass. That's not it. If it was that, I'd be ranting more up until I went and so forth. I wouldn't have gone anyway. But I'll say that now. I was denied a press pass. I did pay for a ticket. I'll explain during our hostful again. To start the review, let's start the review. First off is the side note. If you hear a little war, if I didn't mention it, that's a fan that I have on to keep everything cool. No central air in the safe house. The event staff and the convention staff, straight off the bat, I want to give you guys a very hard 3.5. That it's only because one, it's your third year in, first year working with those who have ran the New York City Comic-Con, which means everything you did at this show you should have known better, way better, and you didn't, which means, again, you did not fix. Either A, you don't care, or B, you don't want to fix anything. You think you're too big for those errors, and that's really why you as an event staff and convention center staff are failing. The reason why I'm lumping the convention center staff is because, to get into it a little bit, like any other veteran convention goer, we go early. When I tried to find where the line officially began, and I approached several convention center staff and AwesomeCon staff, I was told the line will be, the official line will be Hall E. Now, this was in Hall, I believe, Hall A. It was either Hall A or Hall B, which is the very bottom of the convention center in Washington. And Hall E was 2 floors up, and that normally is not a problem, but for the amount of people that will show up and would be getting tickets, they didn't need that entire hall. For the amount of people there, they could have, and the location of where the convention was being held, where AwesomeCon was being held, they could have put the tickets at a different spot, a better spot, and still been able to manage things way better. That's number one. Number two, it's like they were expecting 100,000 people straight off the bat, which is no. But when I asked in regards to where the official line, they said Hall E, 2 floors up, and they inquired me why I was there so damn early. I believe that was the gentleman's words, and he commented on the fact that the convention started at noon, and why I was there so early. And I informed him, not me, that I was a veteran con goer, and a lot of cons I've been to in the past, both in the Northeast, we go, if you're not there early, you are going to be at the end of the line, or close to the end of the line, and it's going to take you another 2 hours. The con might start at 10 o'clock, you're not getting in there until noon, because the line is so damn long. So getting there early is essential. And when I told him I've been going to con for many a year, and being early and way early, because he stressed way early, is a part of the convention experience, and it's what most convention goers do. And his response was, no they don't. That response, if he was the person who said that was just convention staff, he hasn't been to a lot of geek-based conventions like Wizard World, Baltimore, Monster Mania, Dallas shows, whatever they're called out west. But I've been to Baltimore a good many times, at least 10 times, 15 times. Not that long. The convention that hasn't been around that long. I've been going to AwesomeCon since 2004, and only missed maybe about 2 or 3 years. And so that's still over 10 times. And that show started at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'd get there at 8, and I'd be about number 420 out of several thousand that were going that particular day. And when you ask some of the people, when approaching the end of the line at that time, how long have people in front been there, I was hearing 6 a.m., 5 a.m., 7 a.m., and I was there at 8. So there are people there that do show up at conventions way past, or I should say way early, 3 hours, 4 hours earlier. Similar things happen at Wizard World. People are there at literally the crack of dawn to wait to get inside, to get con exclusives and everything else. They have to be in there early, because of convention exclusives of ones of 500, and one of that, to get, if there's 1,000 exclusives of a certain comic or a certain figure made for that convention, they are there to be as close to within the first 500 people there, so they can get those exclusives. That's why we show up early, is to get exclusives, to be in front, to get through the line as quickly as possible. If you don't understand that, and you are a promoter for this show, and you're event staff, and you don't understand that, there's an issue, because when you get to that point that you do have exclusives, and you do put out final exclusives, I mean a limited run exclusives, and you have the bigger artists and the bigger, I won't say distributors, but the bigger comic book makers, like I won't say DC and Marvel, they haven't, I haven't heard them being at a show in years, but people like Valiant or a major toy manufacturer who wants to be at your show, they're going to put out exclusives that are just for your show, and people want to be there early, so they make sure that they are able to get that. If you don't understand that, there's a problem. You have to wrap your head around that. But I was there early. I was moved to Hall E when I finally went up there. Obviously, the people, the event staff and the convention staff, convention center staff, had an issue with paid paid guest is different from an invited guest. An invited guest is a celebrity or the vendors or so forth and so on that have been invited to be there. A paid guest is a ticket holder. There were several, I'll say it like that, there were several ticket holders similar to myself who arrived early, and we were told it's way too early, we're not allowed in the building. Why are we in the building? We should leave, get out. In essence, get out. I have to, I believe one of the guys pretty much told us, well, I have to show you the door. You are, we don't know why you're in the building. The only people in the building should be, in essence, volunteers, invited guests, which is the celebrity guests if they were there early, or the vendors, the celebrity guests, the volunteers, and an event staff. That's it. And the convention staff. That's it. If you weren't any of those people, or if you weren't registering for a panel, you were not allowed in the building. And we were shown you have to be at this particular entrance. And pretty much we were escorted out. And then we went to a, while I was waiting at that particular entrance, I saw a cosplayer dressed, he was Star Wars cosplayer. He was dressed in several layers, some of which were leather. He was sweating like a pig at a luau, to put it politely. I think I did. It was about, at this point, it was about 8:30, 9 o'clock. We still had about an hour to go to get in. He was sweating like a pig. We went to step inside the convention center to cool off. Again, we were told we were asked why we were there. We said we were there for AwesomeCon. We're just waiting to go upstairs to wait in line for to grab programs and make sure our tickets were valid and all that. We were then told we were at the entrance we were told to be at. We were then told by the convention center staff and security, you're at the wrong entrance, you have to be at a different entrance. And when we on our way to that particular entrance, the third entrance for me, or the third location for me, we come across a couple other ticket holders coming the opposite direction, who were informed by the security and convention center staff from that entrance that they had to go to the entrance we just came from. So after talking for a few minutes, we went back to that entrance and we had to wait until 10 o'clock. I was one of the few people when 10 o'clock hit. All of our phones were within a minute. 10 after 2. Approached the door. Guy opened the door. Why are you guys here? It's 10 o'clock. Time to go in to get our tickets. The guy was like, no, it's not 10 o'clock yet. I'm the first one to pull out my phone. My phone says 10 o'clock. Let us in. Nope, can't. Not 10 o'clock. We weren't told to let you in yet. We had to wait until maybe about 5-10 after 10, so it could be officially 10 o'clock and let us get tickets. While waiting, there was confusion over, they still weren't set up yet. Literally, they were not set up yet when 10 o'clock hit. There were a few areas that were set up. I had to have my poster tube. I have a plastic poster tube. I had to go through weapons check for that particular poster tube because they claimed that I might be wandering around with a bladed weapon and attack people because I looked like I would be attacking people. And there was a brief little argument discussion in reference to whether or not I needed a weapons check sticker on my poster tube, an empty poster tube, mind you, for it. But when we get upstairs and finally go through the whole ticket process, I had my ticket in hand. I give them my letter in reference to will call, and I said, there was an issue with this. See this, my ticket that's around my neck right now? And they said, yes. I said, it's obvious I got this in the mail, correct? And they said, yes. I said, I showed them my ID. I showed them, the QR code. Run that sheet to the your computer. And they said, well, it says you haven't picked it up yet. Really? I didn't pick it up yet. I have it in my hand. And they said, well, we'll make a note so there's error, um, no more errors or reduced errors. That at least something's in their system saying that tickets were mailed out when they shouldn't have been. And one of the things that when I said they weren't set up, this was the program that they handed out. But this program they didn't have available. They told us at one end, it was at the other end of the ticket, the end of the ticket line, or where the exclusives, some of the show exclusives, the shirt exclusives, the convention, the stuff with the convention logos and so forth and so on. When we get there, we're waiting. They said, "Are you guys here waiting for your shirts and your pre-ordered shirts?" And all. I said, me and the other people there were saying, "No, we're here for the pick of the program." They were like, "Program? What program?" We want the printed program to look at, the hard copy, instead of getting it digitally. They said, "Well, we don't have it here. You have to go on the other end to get it." And they told us to come here. And everybody behind me, like, yeah, they told all of us to come here for the program. And the person was baffled that, like, there was no communication between either end, who was to have the programs, who was not supposed to have the programs, so forth and so on. But then they just compiled themselves on top of that. They were telling all the people that have the VIP pass that they'll be letting them in a half hour early. Meaning, instead of noon, you get in at 11:30. 11:30 comes and goes. Literally comes and goes. I don't mean by my phone's clock 11:32. I mean like closer to 11:40. The VIPs have not been let into the convention center. Again, by this and my iPod Touch both had 11:50 on them. Still, VIPs were not let into the show, yet they were told, yeah, you guys are getting in early. Noon rolls around. Now, at this point, regular ticket holders like myself and the VIPs should now already be in and excited to be in and already in, getting our stuff and buying and having fun. Not the case. We're not allowed to be let in yet. They weren't ready yet. It was closer to 12:45, not 12:45, closer probably to 12:15 to 12:30 before we were allowed anywhere near the entrance. The only people that were close to the entrance were the VIP. They didn't start moving until maybe 11:15, 11:20. That's close to an hour after they were supposed to be in there and starting their shopping, which is pathetic. To me, if you have a VIP pass and you're part of that pass is, hey, you get to be let in early, you should be let in early. That's sad. But it's the event staff. Again, volunteers I'm excluding. The event staff were treating people like it came off like, oh, we don't care. It came off like they didn't care about us. Literally, I'm sure in some way they do. They have their policies for harassment and weapons and so forth and so on. But it came off like they didn't care. Where they should have snaked. Well, what I mean by snake is like a bank line or a amusement park line. You know, the kind of S shape or snake shape. They were wondering why the line was so damn long. Well, you're supposed to snake the line. You know, you're supposed to have something on the floor showing where the line starts, number one, and then continues. They did not do that. As per going around saying, all right, the VIP is over here, the regular ticket holders over here. No one was doing that. No one was doing that. I didn't see that happening whatsoever. They took, when 11:30 hit and the line was wrapped around the back end of Hall E, they broke it off a little bit and they made a separate line. That's it. That's the only thing that they did. And they were like another 40 feet away from us. And it just seemed a waste of effort and time. To go back and in reference to waiting outside, it was 80 degrees outside, and even though we were under an overhang for the convention center, it was lightly raining in spots, and it was again 80 degrees. You're keeping people outside of the heat, in the heat. Some of, like I said, that one cosplayer was in multiple thick layers of clothing. He could have passed out. And again, you're telling the convention, nope, he's not allowed in. No one's allowed in until 10 o'clock. And the convention center staff is playing around inside, goofing off like a bunch of knuckleheads. Fat boy, can't take the heat. People in thick costumes can't take the heat. We should have been inside, at least upstairs, and at least allowed in early so we could cool off, get some water, hit the restroom if we need to. Instead, oh, if you're hot, just go to Subway over there. They might be open. Really? Again, it's the rudeness. It's the aspect of this is unprofessional. And you're walking around like, why is the line so long? It makes you sound like when, especially someone like myself, who is not only there as a fan, but now as a podcaster, and I'll be putting this up on YouTube. You're showing us that you don't care. You're acting like it's you didn't know what to do. That's number one. Number two, you're acting like it's your first year out. Three, you're acting like you don't care. And one of the things that missing out is that it's like you didn't want anybody that was downstairs at anybody at the vendor, any of the vendors upstairs handing out promotional cards, promotional flyers, business cards, tickets for free stuff. Again, I was at Baltimore. I was at Wizard World East, which is in Philly. Both events. Some of the like Philly, I was given a ticket. Come to the Sony booth. You show this ticket, and you show if you have your PSP. That's when PSPs were big at the time. You show your PSP. You give them this ticket. You get a free game. That didn't happen. Baltimore, we were given the first 500 people in line that showed up early. First 500 that were there since probably 6 o'clock, from 6 o'clock in the morning to when I arrived at 8 o'clock, and a few people behind me got free little tickets to get glass, literally like glassware glass, decent 20-ounce glasses, in free glasses, con exclusives, free. Where were those people coming up to promote their booths, to hand out flyers? Come see me, come see the folks at our booth. That didn't happen. That was it seemed like no one came up. Did you tell the vendors you can't come up and to hand out promotional flyers? You couldn't do this. You couldn't do that. It sounded like you're being a very controlling parent. Now, granted, with a lot of today's environment, with weaponry, with harassment, yeah, you have to be very strict with that. That I understand. With your celebrity guests, you might have stuff in your contract with them in regards to photography. Yes, you have to be strict with that. I understand. But everything else, it's like you're being restricted. No, don't do that. Don't. No. Don't. No. You want to promote? You giving out free stuff? You can't do that. No. You're going to be selling a few things at your booth that you want to promote now? No. Really? It's like you want the fans to do that, but you don't want the fans to do that. You want the vendors to do that, you don't want the vendors to do that. It's like almost two-faced. It's sad. Out of a 10 score, 3.5, a loose 3.5, which is pathetic. As for the event itself, because the convention staff and the convention center staff will leak into this because of that, you know, being bounced around, strictly, you know, enforced like a dictatorship type deal. The event itself is getting, I'll say the score right now, a very loose 6.5. Very loose. I want to say 6. It might actually get a 6 by the time my host full is there. I did have a wonderful time at the event itself. Now this is where the volunteer staff, the Brute Squad, comes into play. I'll lump the Brute Squad, the volunteer staff, into the event itself. The volunteers were very helpful in trying to, because I tried to find one of the guests I was gunning for to get an autograph from. They were very helpful for that. They were very helpful in reference to some of the stuff I wanted to pick up. They were selling 11 by 17 poster holders. Picked up 2. And I wanted to get those. So they were very helpful. They were with the prices and very warm and welcoming and very friendly. That's why I'm lumping them with the event, not the event itself instead of the event staff, because the volunteers were very friendly. Now to go back on the event staff and all that, guys, I want to let you know right now, not because of you probably had people with press passes there. Not everybody who buys a ticket is like myself, a geek. We are all not everybody is there. You know, a paying guest is also there as a guest. They got a ticket. Not everybody doesn't. Granted, not everybody who has a ticket to get in to see a show is a YouTuber or a podcast, but a lot of them might be. If you have, if 10% of, let's use your last year's number, 40,000 people show up, and 10% are YouTubers and podcasters, with maybe as few subscribers and viewers, subscribers of like maybe a dozen or a couple of thousand viewers on subscribers on YouTube, with maybe a couple hundred views per video, to 200,000, 300,000 subscribers and a couple 100,000 views on YouTube, to the low podcaster on the totem pole who's up and coming, doing his best to get his name out there, to promote, to go from a low level podcaster to a higher level podcaster, and an independent podcaster at that, who buys his ticket. And you're telling those people, you know, you're putting them off. You're telling them you don't know diddly. You actually don't know. You don't know what goes on. Like, wait a minute. What if we do? What if we know? What if we're from Nevada? What if we're from Dallas? What if we're from Houston? What if we're from Richmond, Virginia, or Philly, or we're from New York? We actually speak to major promoters that put on major events. We know what goes into events. Or if we speak to other podcasters who know promoters, who could answer questions for us honestly. We know what goes on, and we know what goes on behind the scenes. Don't lie to us. Be honest. Be fan-friendly. That way when we go tell our listeners what happened, like this video, we let everybody know. But back to the event. One of the good things, I want to say it was his idea, not the convention's idea, and that was John Barrow. I think his name is Barrowman. Let me get his name here correctly. For the celebrity guest, it was yes, it was John Barrowman. He's now one of the main people on the CW show Arrow. He plays Speedy's dad, and he's better known for his Doctor Who. I have nothing against him. It's just that I wasn't drawn to get an autograph from him, and it seemed like a slow-moving line because from what I hear, he is very fan-friendly and likes to talk to his fans. So that's why I have nothing against him. Maybe next year, John, if you're watching, maybe I'll get an autograph for you. And the price for him was fairly cheap. I think it was like $40. But the people that I saw, one person was Will Friedel. I think that's how he pronounces his last name. He's better known as Matthews, Mr. Matthews from Boy Meets World. He does guest appearances on Girl Meets World as his former character Matthews, and he's better known in the Geek community as the voice of the Batman from Batman Beyond, not the old school Batman, but the younger Batman. Billy West was very fan friendly again. He did remember Baltimore 2004, which he was like, yeah, I remember that. I had a wild time. It was a wild con. Did you go to the panel? Said yes, it was a great panel. You were one of the best panels I remember. I remember to this day. Phil Lamar was very fan friendly. Phil Lamar filled me in about the. I'll go into the whole story on our hostful that we'll record later this month about the video game strike. Or last year there was some news about voice actors like Phil Lamar who do video games going on strike in regards to video games. I'll explain that when we do our hostful later this month. But he was very friendly, very willing to answer questions. I didn't want to hold the line up behind me because, like guys like Phil Lamar and Billy West, and John Bowerman, who are fan friendly, the lines tend to slow down because you do want to hold a lengthy conversation with these people, and you just can't. As a veteran con goer myself, you tend to annoy the people. Once you realize that you're spending a lot of time speaking to this person, you tend to realize that you could be annoying the people behind you, and you want to keep the line moving. But go into more on that. But they were very fan friendly. Timothy Zahn was the person the main writer. For those who don't know the name, he's a science fiction writer. He's mostly known for writing Star Wars Expanded Universe novels. Very polite guy. I felt bad just getting an autograph, so I picked up some lithos off of him that he had done for his books. So he was very fan-friendly. Got to talk to him. One thing I didn't pick up, which is a kind of a bummer. I can understand why they were telling people no, because of the whole aspect of kind of quasi-fair use, and I guess it's how their contracts were not the contracts with the event staff, but the contracts with their initial people, meaning when during my line waiting for for the voice of his name again, I should have this open up, Charles Marionette. He's the voice of Mario. Basically, what I kept hearing in his line and the other lines from the other voice actors and some of the other celebrity people was that in regards to endorsements, meaning they were someone like Charles and Billy West would do. Even David Prowler, who was the man behind Vader, he was the actor who actually played Vader, even though James Earl Jones voiced Vader. They would do a voicemail message for you saying, I am David. Hi, this is David Prowse. At the beep, you have called the number for John Jane Smith. Please leave your name, number, and a brief message after the tone. thank you so much. Or if there was a voice actor like Charles or Billy, they'd do it in a particular character voice for you for a small fee, like maybe between $40 to $50. But they wouldn't do it as a endorsement or a promotional type of deal, meaning I couldn't, for my podcast, I couldn't pay them. I could pay them $50 for a voicemail saying, "You have reached the phone of the Godfather. Please leave your name, number, and brief message." I couldn't go to Billy and say, "Hey, here's $50. As a professor, could you do? You're listening to the Long Coat Mafia podcast." Due to the fact that it's considered an endorsement, and the people like Comedy Central, Fox TV, the division, the television division of Fox Broadcasting, Nintendo, they all had, because they have issues with it could be put up on YouTube, and thus infringe on copyright, their copyright, and it's a two-way yelling, which means they yell at you, in essence, they yell at the YouTuber saying, "Hey, that's our copyrighted work. How dare you? We're putting a strike on you, and we want you to pull it. Here's a cease and desist letter." Then they yell at the person who did it, because it's considered, even though their voice or their, it's still considered their property in some way. Therefore, they get yelled at as well. And once that happens, no more voicemail messages for anybody. So I could kind of understand. It sucks, but it sucks. But you gotta have to understand that. But overall, it was very. The event itself is getting a soft 6.5. I did pick up this huge. It's a loot. I wouldn't say it's a Loot Crate type box. A Loot Crate is a subscription service for $20. This was a grab bag box. They said there is about 7 items in here. At least 7 items worth about $5 a piece. I paid $35 for this. I will do an unboxing with this and our common grab bags during our hostful. But I had a good time. I met Joe, the forerunner of Joe's Finest Cosplay. They are a G.I. Joe cosplay group, and they do a charitable calendar for the USO. It was fun meeting her. I'll probably be in talks to iron out the details in regards to her being on the show to talk about what she's doing in reference to the fundraiser and the everything else. What also surprised me was the amount of Disney cosplayers that I've been seeing, that I saw there Friday, that I've been seeing being posted on Instagram. There were a lot of Disney cosplayers. There were a lot of actual Pokemon cosplayers, which was amazing. A lot of them were brilliantly done. A couple of friends of mine have said that for a convention, it's not an official convention unless you see at least 3 of the following cosplayers, which are kind of in their eyes, a constant standard: Doctor Who, Joker, Harley Quinn, Slave Leia, and Deadpool. If you see at least 3 of those, it's an official con. At the con today, that includes all variants. I saw at least 2 different Deadpools. So a half dozen Jokers. Seen quite a few Jokers. One of which I posted up on our Instagram, which is at Long Coat Mafia. He was on point. He was there with a Robin, and the Joker was on point. It was beyond good. I've seen good Jokers before. This was beyond good. I must say, a lot of these cosplayers are kicking it up a notch. They are raising the bar. And for those of you who cosplay and are true geeks that like to share your knowledge in reference to how you did your cosplay, thumbs up to you. Share that knowledge. Those of you who don't and want to be snobbish, thumbs down on you. Bad form, bad form. But Um, Again, wonderful job. Those who did stuff that was on point. I saw a dude that was on stilts. I think he might have been like Johnny from Fantastic Four, because he was on stilts. It was like he was supposed to be flying or something like that. But it was, I mean, it was awesome. So a dude in a xenomorph from an Aliens costume on Friday. But a lot of it was on point, well done. Different cosplayers than the norm. Through Instagram, I saw Slave Layer, so we've hit standard. Plus, there were a few Harley Quinns there on Friday. But I did manage to enjoy myself. Again, John Barrowman, I hope you're pronouncing your name correctly. I hope to meet you next year or whenever you decide to come back to Awesome Con. Good form, because the reason why I mention him is because he was initially supposed to show up on Saturday and Sunday, and that was my main issue. Again, my main issue, or my main gripe with the event itself. A lot of the heavy-hitting celebrities like Carl Urban, Peter Capelli, I think he's the current Doctor in Doctor Who, were only there on, like, and some of the other guests, celebrity guests, were only there Saturday and Sunday. Not Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah, there are major cons like Wizard World that there are Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They only have Saturday and Sunday, and that percentage is very small, but they still have a lot of heavy-hitting guests on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That way, you have that. You're still going to have a real big level of, standard. Meaning, you might have 40,000 people show up all 3 days, but first day you might have 25, and the rest showing up Saturday. Or Saturday is you're going to see the bulk of that 40,000 people. Sunday is going to be maybe a few people, but it's the best way I can describe it. It's like a firework that shoots up. It's just going to go a whole mess of energy that bursts on Saturday, and Sunday it's just a fizzle out. And that's my main gripe about the event. There's a lot of stuff that that should have been better. Have more, because the celebrity guest area looked empty. Looked literally empty because of the aspect of the bulk of the celebrity guests Saturday and Sunday. That's the only thing I can say about that. Everybody was friendly. Joe was friendly. Those at the a lot of the booths were very friendly. The people who sold me this were very friendly about this. They were more than happy to tell me all about this and what they were doing. Same thing with the Joe's booth. The 501st. They were more than happy to tell me about their organization. Everything. A lot of friendly people. I went to the event with after breakfast, maybe about $370 to spend at the show itself. I walked away with, I spent maybe about $320, which is very good, very, very good. I was hoping to walk away in essence penniless. And don't make me sound like I spent my whole entire paycheck. No, I saved up that $370 some odd. And walking away penniless is fine, because I had my train ticket back home, and when I go to a show, I protect myself, so that way I protect myself in a way that I'm able to get there, have something to eat, and come home. If I'm there all day, I have money for breakfast, I have money for either lunch or dinner, to make sure, again, fat boy, that way my sugar's up, I'm not starving myself, I have enough money for food, and I have money to get me there and back. So that 400 and change, or 470, was excluding travel money and food money. That was strictly convention money, and my pay was in my account. But going there, I picked up a lot of great stuff. Like I said, celebrity autographs, met Phil Lamar, more on the at our hostful. There was a story behind Phil Lamar and Billy West with the guy behind me. These details I'll go in with my co-host because they will probably want to know more. But the main gripe, and I'll go over my gripes at the hostful because they want to know. They'll ask me questions, which is their job. But since I'm close to 45 minutes now into this review, again, the event staff and convention staff, you're getting a very soft 3.5. I don't think a little blue pill could help you to raise that number and harden that number. But the event itself is getting a soft 6.5. With better and improvement, that could harden to 7 and 8. It sounds mean, sounds bitter. If it comes off like that, it's for you to improve. Please, AwesomeCon, improve your how you treat your fans. Better signage. Don't piss off the fans, because in our days of social media, it's easier for me to, and other people who attend. Again, you have 40,000 people there. If each of those people have 100 friends that are curious about the convention that they go to, and you piss them off, that's what, close to 4 million friends, if my math is right offhand. Yeah, if each person has at least 100 friends that might want to go to a show or want to know, how was your day? Oh, it sucked, and the convention center staff really sucked, they treated me, the event was fun, but you go to talk to somebody and they put you down like you're an idiot. That's how they treated me. They treated me like an idiot, like I didn't know better. They were rude to me. When you put people outside instead of, being a little polite, just treat the fans better. If you want to grow as a convention, as a con, you have to treat your fans better. Not, hey, we're going to let you all in the same time type of deal, and yet you were telling people up to the general time that, we're letting you in early. Or you look at the line and go, why are all these people here? Really? You're putting people off. You're telling people, again, if you have someone who's a ticket holder that's a major YouTuber, or a major YouTuber in their own right, meaning they have 250,000 subscribers and more, and views for each of their episodes of close to 500,000 people, you're telling them, go to hell. And they're going to tell 500,000 people, yeah, the people at AwesomeCon told me to go to hell. Don't go back. Don't go there. So there's a potential you could go from 40,000 people to maybe less, and you won't last long as a con. That's not a threat. That's that's the reality of YouTube, podcasting, and social media today. Just be forewarned, AwesomeCon. I do this because I want you guys to improve. Yes, I'm a low-level podcaster. Your event was great. The people, it was well set up. It's nice to see sections like a science fair being held on, and decent guests. Just that you don't treat the fans well. I can hear you guys now. Well, we do. We have all these, but one-on-one, the volunteer staff, yeah, they treat the fans right because they're fans too. But if you don't act like, hey, our fans don't show up, yeah, the fans show up to cons early. If you act like you're the only show on the planet, you're not. Especially when you do the same weekend as Wizard World, the same weekend as Dallas, and if you be rude to your fans, they're gonna say, next year, guess what? Well, instead of spending $1,000 and coming to the nation's capital, and flying out to the nation's capital and staying here in the nation's capital for $1,000 and 3 days and so forth and so on, and going to AwesomeCon, we'll spend that money at Philly, or we'll go down to Atlanta for Dragon Con, or we'll go down to MegaCon, or we'll go down to Dallas and go there to that particular convention. We'll spend our money elsewhere, and that's sad. That's strictly sad. Be nice. You be more presentative. Don't lie to your fans. The reason why I say that is because I asked on Twitter or Instagram or on Facebook, one of the social media sites, asking why Peter and a few others could only be on Sunday. Especially when Peter was announced. Why could he only be there on Sunday? I was told scheduling. That was the reason. Scheduling. He can't make it because he's filming. Turns out that was a crock of crap. He was appearing at the Dallas convention Friday and Saturday, but not that Sunday. Really. And which also proves my point. You could have a big name guest on a Friday and a Saturday and a Sunday. Just that you have to schedule people. You have to be the first person there. Make your invited guests, your celebrity guests, say, I want to be back here next year. Don't tell me on the comments. Don't tell me on my social media, which is Long Coat Mafia on Twitter, or on our Facebook page, which is the Long Coat Mafia Podcast, or here on the comments saying, oh, and there's no guest that ever said I'll come back next year. Guess what? Jim Lee, 1 year on 2006, or was it 1 year when Jim Lee, major comic book artist, big name in the business, told the fans Sunday, he told the promoter, I want to come back here next year. He came back next year. It was all over their social media. Guess who wants to come back next year? Jim Lee. We're announcing it right now officially. Jim Lee is going to be here next year. All we have to do is iron out the details. It happens. It does happen. Quit lying to your fans. Literally. There's nothing more I can say. Don't lie to the fans. Be honest. Be upfront. Be fan-friendly instead of the restrictive parent and lie, or the lying parent. And granted, again, you have harassment, you have protocols for harassment and weaponry. Yes, that's needed. You have to be strict on that. But on some things, you have to be very fan-friendly. And I went into that. It's 52 minutes and change. A lot of the things, all the negativity is that you're not awesome content, you're not fan-friendly. The only people that were fan-friendly were the volunteers that I met on the show floor. The people, the vendors were fan-friendly. The celebrity guests were fan-friendly. You, the promoters, you, the actual event staff, were not fan-friendly. The convention center staff were not fan-friendly. When you have to be fan-friendly. When you are not, you might not have people like me who want to come back. And next year you'll probably have another hour-long review in regards to your show, in regards to how bad it is. Literally, I don't want to go spend a whole hour next year saying how bad, how rudely I was treated. I want to say, hey, I did get a lot of great stuff. I want to say I was treated awesomely at AwesomeCon. I want to use the word awesome so many dang blasted times, it's disgusting. Every other word out of my mouth should be awesome for the review, for your show. Not, it freaking sucks. I don't want to be angry about it. I don't want to be rude about it. I want to say, hey, I got awesome stuff. I got awesome pictures. I bought awesome things. I was treated awesomely at AwesomeCon. I want to be saying that. But I can't. Because I was treated rudely. I was treated like I don't know anything that goes on in the industry. Yet I do. I've known podcasters who've worked behind the scenes for events, who've had panels, at major conventions in other places, who worked with promoters at other events in other locations. I myself am working at behind the scenes for smaller events and working my way up. And still holding on to my roots. Please, be fan friendly. We know podcasters and YouTubers do tend to know, a lot of us tend to know what goes on behind the scenes. Don't lie to us. Don't lie to your fans. Be fan friendly. Don't say, hey, if they had to cancel, they had to cancel. Fine, shit happens. Yeah, you had one person who was going to be there from Firefly. She's in Gotham. She was in the movie Deadpool. She canceled. And a lot of the comments under that particular post was that, yeah, she has a tendency to cancel a lot. But don't say, oh, they can only make. Be honest. Be honest. Yeah, Friday and Saturday they're going to be at a different show. Just be freaking honest. We know. We're not morons. We're not idiots. We have access to the internet. We know what goes on. Yes, I'm rambling. Yes, it's going to be an hour-long interview thing. YouTube is not going to like it. Again, it's just going to be raw. The flow, again, the word you hear is my fan. Again, our social media is on Facebook. It's the Long Coat Mafia Podcast. Our email is longcoatmafia@gmail.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are both Long Coat Mafia. Our website is thelongcoatmafia.podbean.com. And again, I'm the Reverend Godfather. See you next time. Later.